The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 years, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Darren, the crypto donkey,
Hello.
Michelle from Nodal,
Hi, everyone.
and I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. The price of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin is down 4.82% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 65,984 just recently under 66,000, a high of 69,344, and a low of 65,530. That's $1 for 1,515 Satoshis, well on the wrong side of the 1,000 Satoshi barrier. We've been watching this price all morning. Issue one, Bitcoin price slides to two-week low as liquidations top $300 million and macro pressure builds. Additionally, Bitcoin holders are showing stronger conviction despite the price losing the 68,000 level. It feels different this time than last time. Darren, what do you think about the price of Bitcoin currently dropping as we're doing the show?
Keep on dropping. I want it to drop more so I can buy more sats.
Stack sats, one of those. Michelle, what do you think? More dropping, more stack satting?
In my books, one Bitcoin is still one Bitcoin. Nothing changes.
Oh, but the price, we've dropped below 69,420. Such an important number. But we'll check in with the truth source of all price, the magic 8 ball. Let's see. First, Darren, do you think the price will be higher or lower this time next week?
I think lower. I hope lower.
Michelle, higher or lower?
I vote lower as well.
Well, we do have that pesky Iran war going on now. Let's see what the Magic 8 Ball thinks. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? My sources say no. My sources say no. The ball is bearish. That's what you need all those trading charts for, so you could read the ball. Moving on to issue two. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Coinbase CEO claims that he knows the answer, and they've conveniently made a new documentary about it. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? They claim that they know. BlackRock has issued a warning, and a new movie is coming out. Brian Armstrong, right here from Coinbase, says they know who Satoshi is. Brian said, "It's the most thoughtful take on this subject I've seen out there, and I suspect you got the right answer. The film is a great piece of work." Michelle, who is Satoshi Nakamoto, and will this movie be correct?
Whoever says they know are full of shit. So, and I mean, if we knew who it is, would we have to wait for a documentary to tell us?
Well, the last documentary claimed that it was Peter Todd, friend of the show, been on several times. So that was pretty fun. But of course, their source on that was Peter Todd himself, which, as you know, is not a good source. Darren, who will Satoshi be? Will this documentary be correct?
Well, look, does it even matter who Satoshi is? I mean, the interesting thing here is this has a bit of a smell of marketing about it, doesn't it? It's sort of like whipping up that sort of who is Satoshi, and yeah, I don't think it matters. I think it's just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Marketing. It's marketing to me.
It does seem like they're following the same exact playbook as the Peter Todd Bitcoin movie, so much so that I can't even remember the title of that movie. It was a big deal at the time. It was on HBO. I can tell you, looking at the article, the title of this movie is going to be Finding Satoshi. And I guess it'll be out April 22nd. I don't know if that's in movie theaters or on a streaming platform, but they claim that they've found him. I'm betting it's probably going to be an academic take. So they're probably going to say that it's Nick Scavo based upon the handwriting or the text analysis, or they're going to say that it's Joy Ito or another academic type person because of the academic qualifications of Satoshi, the rigor of the paper, and so forth. I don't know if they have new evidence. Obviously, I haven't seen the film yet, but it will be interesting. It is a bit disappointing, don't you guys think, that this is the only thing that people care about Bitcoin? They care about the price and they care about the mysterious creator. They don't care about learning that there's 21 million or you can send it one way or how it works or anything like that. Michelle, what do you think? Why do people keep focusing on the creator and the price?
I mean, the price for speculation, obviously, I think, but why they care about the creator, I don't know. What I know, if we ever learn who that is with certainty, I would be very disappointed.
Well, we learned recently, according to the newspapers, who Banksy is, and in a way, it kind of has spoiled the like kind of Banksy magic. Like it's some guy. He calls himself David Jones. He used to have another name before, but apparently he changed it because in Britain, David Jones is like John Smith. There's just 100 David Jones, and it helped make him invisible, even though the story says he was sitting right there next to the guy from Massive Attack. So the previous theory was that it was Massive Attack because Banksy seemed to do pieces wherever they performed, and now it's a guy who's a friend of Massive Attack. In the same way, they might just say Satoshi was here, Satoshi was there, this kind of thing. Maybe it's a friend of Satoshi, or they've captured someone near the project. We don't know. Darren, what do you think? What kind of things do you imagine that they have? Do they have some new evidence? What would you accept as evidence, even?
Yeah, I don't think they have any new evidence. I think anything that's going to be out there is already out there. I think ultimately, humans like a good old creation myth, and I think that's why sort of sort of an enigma and a mystery about who is Satoshi. That's what people like to sort of cling on to, right? A bit of mystery, and particularly in sort of bear markets and things like that, when it's all doom and gloom. Unless you're stacking, then gives people a bit of sort of something to talk about. But again, this has the sort of smell of the marketing about it. Who is Satoshi? You can find out by coming to sort of Coinbase.com. You can see where it's going to go.
It is specifically great that the CEO of Coinbase is all wound up in this film. For all we know, he produced it or is going to premiere it on his website or something like that, which would be great press for them as well. It is sad we only focus on the creator of who is Satoshi and not how Bitcoin works or any of the other interesting things about it, especially with these larger and larger productions. We saw HBO go off with such a large production, and then it all came down to Peter, and now whatever this film company is going off with their prediction. Finally, we have the exit question, forced prediction. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Michelle, you have no time to prepare. Give us a name.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, excellent choice. Darren, same question. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto?
I think we're all Satoshi Nakamoto.
Wrong. I think it's Joy Ito. Joy Ito. Let's go to the top. Somebody with a technical prowess, somebody who hacks things, writes big papers, involved in big things. And as you all know, recently on the Jeffrey Epstein list, dun 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 dun. At least I think he was. I think that, well, they were involved anyway. They wanted to meet him. Maybe somebody knew him. We'll find out soon. Anyway, you can check this video out and more videos at worldcryptonetwork.com. We've even got some new long videos this week, long overdue from the Bitcoin convention in Las Vegas. I filmed it from far away. Donald and Eric Trump speaking at the Bitcoin Las Vegas convention. Last week, we had Vice President J.D. Vance speaking at the Bitcoin Las Vegas convention. It's kind of fun now. It's been about 6 months or so since the conference. Maybe you can go back and see if any of the things they said came true about Bitcoin. from that day on. I also think that was kind of a price high point as well during the conference. Moving on to issue 3. BlackRock issues $1 trillion nonsense crypto market price warning alongside huge Bitcoin prediction. BlackRock has led the campaign to get a Bitcoin ETF, and now they're excited about the price of Bitcoin, saying that predicted of crypto, along with BlackRock's other high growth markets, could become $500 million revenue generators in the next 5 years. This from something they've been ignoring and making fun of for years. We also have, I think this will be the 4th one, though. We'll save that one. But anyway, what do you think about BlackRock saying that they're going to make $500 million off of this ridiculous thing that they've been ignoring and making fun of for years? Do I get a cut of this 500 million for promoting it, for trying to get their attention? Darren, what do you think? BlackRock suddenly big time in the crypto game.
I mean, it's that sort of correlation with the price is down, and you've got this sort of news going on, and that for me is bullish. And if they're making money from it, that's a big chunk of money from their sort of fees that they're making, and yeah, I think it's interesting. I think as well, there's definitely that anti sort of shitcoin sort of sentiment here as well, and focusing on Bitcoin is the the sort of the real deal when it comes to cryptocurrencies, with a side of Ethereum or whatever other ETF they've got. But I think that's the interesting thing here.
It is funny and difficult to be so right. We were so right about this thing 10 years ago or whatever it was. And it was the kind of thing we were looking at. We're like, why can't the banks see this? Why can't the big investors see this? There's so much money to be made for them for fees. People want to buy this, people want to sell this. You could offer it to them. You could make the fees. And to now see them so excited about it and think they're going to make $500 million, I don't know if that's a year or in the next 5 years, it says generally. It's great. But when do I get my cut? When do I get my cut? Clearly, I consulted on this. Clearly, a lot of people deserve a cut, and they're not going to get it. The banks are it was their idea. It was their idea the whole time. Michelle, what do you think about our friends BlackRock? Suddenly, there are really good friends.
Well, not a big fan of paper Bitcoin, but I like the fact that they call all of the other crypto nonsense. We can disagree on that. One thing I noted in this article is they say that crypto is computer native money, and there is a natural symbiosis between AI and APIs and the computer native money. That's like ignoring the last 10 years of what happened in Bitcoin. I don't know if you remember, 10 years ago, there was the 2-1 computer, which was a device that allowed you to sell your APIs for Bitcoin. It totally disappeared like after 1 year. But yeah, I keep mine. It's a piece of Bitcoin history, and the history is repeating.
Yeah, they are back again. And it's great to have them. We'll have to see how it turns out. We have one more story. We're going to go ahead and move ahead to issue 4. Phong calls Morgan Stanley's Bitcoin ETF a monster Bitcoin bet with $160 billion potential. The president and CEO of Strategy said that Morgan Stanley's upcoming Bitcoin ETF could unlock as much as $160 billion in demand under a modest portfolio allocation scenario. Darren, what do you think about Morgan Stanley's Bitcoin ETF and the possibility of $160 billion of new interest in Bitcoin?
And it's that same thing, is they look at the other guys earning their sort of fees from the ETFs and go, well, hang on a minute, we'll have some of that. So again, I think it's very sort of positive and bullish for Bitcoin, and I think as well, sort of just touching back on the on the BlackRock story, and the whole thing around sort of APIs, an agentic sort of API sort of discussion, I think that's going to be a big, massive play as well. And there's certainly some other moves in the market happening around that at the moment with like sort of X402 and stuff. So yeah, all of the institutional stuff for me is bullish Bitcoin.
So you guys are talking a lot about AI using Bitcoin, but all the hype I hear is stable coins. Darren, is it possible for an AI to use a stable coin? Are there reasons that an AI would choose Bitcoin instead of a stable coin?
So on the API front, you've got like X402, which is Coinbase, and that is stablecoin payments for APIs. So it's like Lightning, but with stable coins. So that's definitely happening, and maybe I'll touch on what I'm doing at the end because it plays directly into this space.
All right, let's go to Michelle. What do you think about Morgan Stanley launching a new Bitcoin ETF? And do you think the AIs will choose Bitcoin or stablecoin?
As long as it makes finally the number go up again. Yeah, I mean, I wish them good luck, and I hope they succeed in this. And AI choosing Bitcoin if the AI is actually intelligent, which it's not yet, unfortunately, then it will choose Bitcoin.
Oh, I was looking for a censorship resistance question, something about the AI wanting its transactions to be delivered and that the stable coins could be blocked or banned or rerouted or something. So I'm hoping the AI will take that into account. Although, from what I'm seeing lately, it just seems like they might be bribed. If the OpenAI company makes a deal with Coinbase, for example, I could see the OpenAI ChatGPT product suddenly preferring Coinbase Lightning stablecoin, whatever you guys are talking about, USDC. But we all know the problems with that. There's one API, there's one attack point, there's one thing to overload, there's one company to trust. Their engineer is sleeping on the weekends, he can't fix it. Like that's why we developed Bitcoin. So to see it happen again, we had this a long time ago. There was a company called ChangeTip, and they tried to have micro payments on Bitcoin, but on Bitcoin really just mean in their database. And they had all of the database problems you think they'd have, people spending at the same time, people purposely attacking them, and so forth. And I think in the end, it was just a huge mess. And that's what I got to figure is going to happen if these stablecoins really do go up against Bitcoin. So I hope the AI will make the right choice, but I suspect they'll make a lot of wrong choices as they get sponsored by this Pepsi of altcoins or this Coca-Cola of altcoins or whatever it's going to be. So, but meanwhile, do you guys think the ETF will be a success? Do we even care at this point? I guess as Bitcoiners, we always wanted an ETF. Now that there are many, what are we going to do? Buy $100 in each one? I mean, I don't know. Darren, does this change anything, or is this just kind of because of the all the customers of Morgan Stanley? That's who we're really interested in.
Well, I'm in the UK, so I can't buy the sort of ETFs. I can buy some ETNs until they get banned in a few weeks' time. Yeah, doesn't sort of help me at all. But I go back to any ETF is positive for the price, whether a bunch of it is paper or not. It doesn't really matter. It's all about sort of focusing the attention on Bitcoin as opposed to other crypto, and I think that's a positive all round.
It is funny for how many years we asked for ETFs. We promoted this idea of ETFs. We had the Winklevi ETF and many other fancy companies try to make it. Now the biggest companies in the world are just alternating, making new ETFs. Each one's more crypto, more Bitcoin, a mix of them, whatever it's going to be. It does seem really like we're winning. Michelle, what do you think about the latest Morgan Stanley Bitcoin ETF? Does it matter? Is it interesting?
Well, I'm really curious what the mix of crypto will be inside of that. Will it really be Bitcoin only, Bitcoin and Ethereum, or a mix of other altcoins or shitcoins? Yeah, I mean, wait and see. We'll see how that unfolds and how it goes.
It definitely seems like they might offer some straight versions with just Bitcoin, just Ethereum, maybe some mixed versions, maybe a mutual fund approach. Of course, I think you'll find what I always find, all your investments go down at the same time. I recently diversified from Bitcoin into tech stocks. Everything went down at the same time. I'm in Nvidia and Apple. They all go down at the same time. So that's not really diversification, but it's a nice idea. I guess it's another way, as we talked about so many times, people have their money that's tied up in the stock market, even though they could just sell it. Even if it's in a 401k, there's not a large penalty. It's less than 10% if you want to flip into crypto. But if you didn't want to do that and you wanted that, special tax-free money or whatever, you could buy the ETF. So that's what they're good for. But I'm not that excited about another one, except like it says, if they have $160 billion in customer money, and we're talking about estates, large estates, huge family money, and they want to take 5% or 1% and move it into Bitcoin, that's great. I'm excited about that. And especially, as Michelle was saying, in a bear market. Anybody buying in a bear market, especially a large bank, that's a good story. We'll cover that. Let's go on to the bonus stories. We've got bonus stories. No more Bitcoin for UK politicians. A full crypto donation ban sparks outrage and conspiracy theories. Apparently, the Labour Party in the United Kingdom has banned crypto donations, which on its face seems like a good idea. You can't tell where the money's coming from. This has been a major problem in the United States, even though we don't know it yet, with the Trump crypto coin. Anybody, any country, any company, anybody, anywhere could be buying it and potentially bribing the politician. However, in the UK, it does seem like this specifically targets Nigel Farage, and I believe that they're a pretty hardcore, crazy right-wing party called Reform. So they are upset. Let's go to Darren, who's in the UK, our UK correspondent. What do you think about this ban? It's not a surprise. The UK's already banned crypto ATMs, essentially. So this is just another category of crypto being taken away from you. But what do you think about the political aspects of Nigel Farage's complaint?
The UK is not cryptocurrency friendly at all, which is without going into any politics on this definitely has a sniff of a political move, purely because the party in question, Nigel Farage's party, are the only party that is accepting crypto. So it's whether you like them or not, it feels like it's using Bitcoin for political purposes, and that doesn't sit too well with me, really. But it's indicative of the UK at the moment, I think.
See, and I think that's a really important thing. And I hope that Brian Armstrong at Coinbase and the rest of the people who are essentially burning all their money in these right wing crypto causes in the United States are listening and are realizing what can happen here. In the UK, what it seems like to me, because only one party, whoever they are, let's throw that out, is accepting these donations, the other party had now turned them off as a way to get back at them. Thus, crypto is totally politicized, totally on the side of one party, and now they're fighting about it. Where if we could get both parties to accept donations, both parties to have crypto politicians, I think we could go a lot farther. I think that it would be hard for them to turn it off if they were both getting some. And as I've said it before in the past, AOC coin, Bernie Sanders coin. President Trump, like him or not, raised allegedly around $5 billion off of Trump coin. If Bernie or AOC or any other left-wing figure could raise $1 billion and start their own think tank and hire 1,000 smart people to work for them, wouldn't they be in a better position then than they are now? And then both sides would be doing it, and then we'd be on our way towards legalization. Michelle, what do you think about the United Kingdom and the idea of cutting off political crypto donations?
Well, looking from outside, it seems it's really targeting one party, but I don't know UK politics well enough to judge. What I know is that in Europe, as a general idea, it's very hard for far-right parties to get finances. They get accounts closed left and right. They can't get loans for elections, for campaigns. So yeah, it seems like crypto would be a good alternative to that, and banning this alternative finance tool would target the parties which are naturally which have trouble accessing financial instruments. So yeah, it smells politically loaded, but maybe just a general crypto ban.
It does seem like a structural situation where the larger party will always be going after the smaller party. The smaller party will always need these kind of weird crypto donations to get by. But at the same time, if we look at it from a bribery perspective, the large unmarked bills are going to come through crypto in this place. We're always going to say, well, where did the bribe come from? It would be through the crypto. So if they close that loophole, they're closing off a lot of bribes. There still are a lot of other ways to get bribes, though. Go ahead, Michelle, more on this.
Well, I not necessarily agree with this. It could be perfectly traceable crypto, like signed wallets and KYC and everything. So crypto doesn't necessarily equal opacity.
It is
Yeah.
possible they could have a more reasonable law and say that it has to be like, say, signed wallets or some kind of system like that. Darren, what do you think? Go ahead.
It's the interesting thing is that it's that sort of old trope that sort of Bitcoin is like sort of for money launderers and drug traffickers and all of this sort of stuff, where it's an open public ledger. If you want to send sort of transactions anonymously, you wouldn't really want to use Bitcoin. But going back to the UK, it's that sort of crazy that we have like the Bank of England at the moment are talking about wanting to ban sort of like sort of unhosted wallets, so private wallets. So really, the Bank of England are now talking about banning mathematics, which is just like crazy. But it goes to show that the politicians and some of those organisations don't really understand Bitcoin anyway, and I think that's the thing that's a bit disappointing.
It does seem like we all want the same thing. If we want political candidates to be funded by the public, which I think is probably a mistake right there, we should probably start with that public funding of campaigns, limits, free airtime, limits on the airtime, limits on the spending, things like that. We would go in that direction. It does seem like Michelle was saying, crypto can be changed to be recordable, to be accessible. They'd have to return unmarked donations, things like that can be very easily monitored. It's almost, it does sound a little absurd, like kind of a Gulliver's Travels, old British kind of thing where they're like, you can donate using this money, but not this money, but this money, yes, and that money on Sundays, and only on Tuesday this money. And are they going to go to all cash? Darren, is the possibility they say maybe cash and coins only, or only coins? You can only collect coins now, because it really does seem like such a trifling difference. Certainly it has to be recorded, it has to be registered, it has to be UK citizen, whatever the rules are. But if we instituted those rules, crypto is just like a electronic check or something, right? They're going to have some kind of a credit card payment system thing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
are they going to ban that?
I think the interesting thing is if they wanted to, they could have regulated it, right? And said for those parties, these are the rules you have to play for, this is the things you have to prove, etc., etc. They haven't done that. They've just said, oh, we'll ban it, right? And so that for me just stinks of it's a political hit job and nothing more.
Well, it's very short-sighted to think that just the Reform Party is using it now, but the other parties won't want to use it in the future, especially as we're going towards all electronic payments. People don't have cash, they don't have checks, they're not going to be able to pay that way. And as you were saying earlier, Darren, I think you were tiptoeing around it. The United Kingdom, London specifically, used to be seen as one of the financial centers of the world. Just like in the United States, New York and New York City was a financial center. They passed that bit license. They slowed down their development, as we all predicted, and now they're crawling back, granting bit licenses to everyone. It doesn't seem like a barrier anymore. It seems like having barriers was the problem. And of course, the Bank of England, a very large barrier, an entrenched interest, almost a representation of the taxi cabs versus Uber. And we all know what happened. Uber just went underneath, around, and circled, and they're just much faster than the taxi cabs. And you have to think, Bank of England, looking at the history of this, you're not going to win. Like MP3 revolution, encrypted communications, all the other things we're doing on the internet, like all we do is win. But they're not going to see that, not until it's too late. Speaking of all we do is win, we've got a gambling story right here from Nevada. Check it out. Nevada becomes the first state to ban prediction market Kalshi, at least for now. Kalishi's sports, politics, and entertainment prediction markets will be banned in Nevada for at least the next 14 days. And I'll go ahead and talk on this one first. We have some really interesting gambling laws here in Nevada. Certainly, you can go down to the casino if you're over 21. You can bet on anything or almost anything as long as it's unfair and the odds are twisted against you. You can bet on it. You can also bet on sports. The Supreme Court here in the United States recently opened that up, saying that it's unfair to let people only bet on sports in some states and wreck their lives. They want everyone to be able to bet on sports and wreck their lives, leading to all kinds of teenagers who are addicted to sports bettings now. I've heard of an app that would be kind of like Tinder, where you swipe to the right to bet on it, you swipe to the left to not bet on it, and you can take bets during the game now, like will they make the next first down? Will they make the next basket? And you could gamble constantly. So I understand trying to restrict that, but I don't think Nevada is trying to do that. I think Nevada is trying to protect its homegrown casino industry, which, as I said, is under a huge assault from that sports gambling expansion, as well as from the Native American casinos, which have popped up all over California, all over the states. So this is just one large gambling concern trying to protect itself from another large gambling concern. We also don't have the California lottery here in Nevada. People have to drive over the border to buy those tickets. And wouldn't you believe it, they do. They have access to roulette and whatever other goofy game you want, but they want even worse odds in the lottery. Let's go to Michelle. What do you think about Nevada trying to ban the prediction market Kalshi and prediction market sports betting in general?
I'm not an expert on the subject. I fail to see the real difference between a prediction market and just usual gambling, other than, as you said, maybe the odds are even worse in one of those. It sounds like a desperate move to try to remove competition.
It's been interesting to watch these prediction markets grow from kind of theoretical ideas to what my friends were building on Augur. And pretty much everyone has kind of agreed that it's just a legal term to get around the betting restrictions. Like you're saying, Michelle, that they want to bet on everything. We have some restrictions as to what you can bet on, and they disagree with those restrictions. They want to be free to bet on literally everything. And what's so interesting, and they've done things to try to stop this recently on Polymarket, it's almost become a search for the insider. Like if the question was, who's going to win this Oscar? We're trying to find someone inside the Oscar organization who's going to flip and give us that information beforehand so that we can take, millions and millions of dollars and throw them all on, Johnny Depp to win the Oscar. And that's each market is a search for this insider. And then there's this other search where all the AIs are trying to find markets where there are insiders so that they can copy the insider and steal some of their thunder. And it's a lot like this great movie by the Coen brothers you should go watch called Miller's Crossing. And in the beginning, the character's upset. He's a gangster talking to other gangsters. And he says, it's getting to be so you can't expect a return from a fixed fight. And if you can't trust a fix, what can you trust? And that's what these prediction markets really do seem like. We're searching for the insider in each particular market. And if you're not the insider, you're not making money. You're not going to win. You're just kind of, gambling like roulette. You're flashy pictures and colors and you're throwing your money at it. Darren, what do you think about prediction markets and Nevada taking a stance at trying to ban it anyway?
I know it's. I mean, obviously, sort of over in the UK, I don't know much about sort of the US and the gambling to the market there, but I wonder are the states feeling they're sort of losing control? That you've got like these things that are starting to happen outside of their sort of sphere of influence, regulation, and probably revenue control as well. I don't know.
Well, there's certainly been article after article about sports gambling and how it's destroying young men's lives. All the young men who used to be addicted to watching sports is now addicted to gambling on sports, and it's heightened the whole thing. I mean, if you've ever seen someone bet, $1,000 on a basketball game, they're hanging on every basket, they're hanging on every point, they're probably abusing drugs and alcohol at the same time. Like, it's not to say it's the same as stocks or it's different than stocks, but maybe the stockbrokers are on less drugs, maybe they're on more. But yeah, everyone is now a sports stockbroker, and they all think they have the inside and they think they know something. And what's even worse is if you watch any of the advertising, they're always advertising the worst bets in the world, which are parlays. So a parlay is like, oh, the Giants are going to beat the Patriots. Okay, that's reasonable. But then you have to say the Giants are going to beat the Patriots, and Tom Brady's going to get 100 yards, and the running back's going to break his leg. And it's like, these things aren't going to happen. Like, it's enough that you could get the score right on a game, to let alone this guy and that guy. And they bump the numbers up, so you're going to get 100x on the parlay. You're never going to win all three bets. It could be 1,000x or 100,000x or whatever it is. You're never going to win all three bets. Maybe one guy did, and he's in the commercial. So, and it's become one of those things it's super strange, and I'm not really moralistic about this. People can do what they want. But when I was a kid, gambling was seen as a vice. And it was something that we pushed into the corner of our society. We said, oh, do that a little bit, bet at the Super Bowl party, play in the March Madness pool once a year, whatever. But don't make it your life. Don't make it your income. Don't see it as investing. I used to listen to this guy, JD. He's the computer guy on the Howard Stern show. And instead of like us, investing in Bitcoin or investing in stocks or whatever, he thinks he's investing in like sports betting. He's like, oh, how much did I win or lose this weekend? Whereas it's all lost. Like, once you put it on the table, like, it's gambled, it's lost. Like, maybe you win, maybe you lose, maybe you buy some drinks, you're going to lose all that money. And these people are taking it way too serious. And they think they have an edge. They think they know something. They think they're experts. All we do is write articles about it. No one's going to change it. There's so much advertising money. There's so much whatever it is in these FanDuel and these fantasy games and so forth. They're doing very well. So, but here in Nevada, going back to the article, or we'll go to Darren. But I think Nevada. Go ahead, Darren.
I was going to say it feels like that it's a leverage play, and people are getting wrecked left, right, and center.
Well, it really is. And it's about, it goes back to Infinite Jest, the David Foster Wallace novel that no one read. Americans have no self-control, to sum it all up. If there was a film that if you watched it, you would stop living and just watch the film, the Americans would say, hey, I got to check out that film. I got to see what's going on. And we touch the hot stove. And maybe it's the adventurous spirit. Maybe we're stupid. I don't know what it is, but yeah, we are touching that hot stove for the rest of the world. And I do think if Kalshi and Polymarket is successful, they'll continue to lower the barrier to entry to gambling, and we'll see more and more people into it. If we want to look at the future of this, you want to see what's happening right now, they have these Labubus. It's called what's it called? It's a blind box toy. So normally when I was a kid, you want to buy a Ninja Turtle, you go and buy Leonardo. You get the blue one, right? You're happy. That's the one I want. Now you would get a blind bag. Could be Leonardo, could be Raphael, could be Michelangelo, the orange one, right? but there's a 1 in 10,000 chance that it's going to be the gold Ninja Turtle that's worth $100, right? Now I'm gambling. I'm not buying toys anymore. I don't want Leonardo. I want gold toy. And what's great too is when you watch these unboxing videos, they also psychologically convince themselves, oh, it's the red one, Raphael, huzzah, this is the one I really wanted. Oh, this is the best. Because they're playing up for these videos. And these unboxing videos are essentially like slot machine videos. They're pulling the slot machines, and these toys are everywhere. I went to Walmart, every single section of kids' toys, girls, boys, young, old, they all have their own version of this blind box toy that you can buy. And so, yeah, we're teaching a lot of people about gambling very young in this country. And I'm sure it's going to work out great. Like, it's like better than a literacy program, better than Mr. Rogers. Like, get those kids gambling and get them in debt too. Speaking of debt, moving on to the next issue, SBF stumbles in error-ridden trial push as judge tells his mother to step aside. The appeal of Sam Bankman-Fried has not been going well. They've also been claiming on CNN that no customer money was lost. FTX creditors see it differently. And again, just generally not having specific or insider knowledge of the case, it is illegal to take company funds and do whatever you want with them. If a guy gives you $1,000 to invest in Bitcoin, you're supposed to hold the Bitcoin, not take the $1,000 and give it to Tom Brady, just as a very general thing. And I think that it's strange to see his very well-educated parents not understand that or temporarily forget it. Michelle, what do you think about SBF and his parents? They're putting on quite a show. It seemed a while ago Trump said no pardon. I think he said no pardon again, and now the appeal is not going well.
Well, there is so many wrong things about it. I don't even know where to start. Like the fact that they sent some letter from a place they claimed it was sent from, but actually it was the tracking said otherwise. Like what's going on here? And calling your parents when you're on trial, like, please help me. I mean, he's an adult person. He should just take care of himself.
I think it's a really interesting contrast to compare this case to the Ross Ulbricht case. Now, sure, Ross was a little differently. He's kind of a political prisoner in a way. If you don't agree with the drug war, he was helping people who are independent, free adults, most cases, get drugs they wanted and so forth. And his mother campaigned and went from conference to conference and raised funds and got lawyers and whatever it is. And in the end, somehow they got that crazy Trump pardon. It doesn't feel like it in this case. It feels like his parents are kind of rich people and their campaign is falling on deaf ears. And Sam doesn't seem very likable. Not that we knew much about Ross, but we did start to get reports about him being in the hole or him tutoring other people in prison. It seemed like he wanted to be a good inmate at the very least. I don't hear that about SBF. I heard his roommate was like P. Diddy or something. Darren, what do you think about his parents and the trial? And it just doesn't seem to be going well for this guy.
No, I mean, yeah, I have to say I don't have very much sympathy for him at all. I think it is different though to Ross. You know, Ross is effectively a libertarian hero. Sam definitely not, and you know, it's. I think there's a political aspect as well. So you know, obviously not knowing much about US politics, but I can imagine Trump is not going to pardon them at all because the parents were donating money to the Democrats. So you know, it's a. I don't think it's going to go anywhere at all. And the whole thing with like sort of, you know, his mum sending letters and mystery sort of parcels from different places. I don't know what's going on there. It's all very, very strange, isn't it?
It does get worse if you compare the kind of philosophy of Ross, like anyone should be able to buy and do anything, very libertarian, versus the philosophy of SBF, which was, as we have to struggle to recall, it was, I need to make $1 billion so that I can become an altruist, Remember, it was this effective altruism thing where this really strange thing where you have to be as greedy as possible and screw over as many people, or it doesn't matter, get that big pile of money. Once you have that big pile of money, you're supposed to be like all these billionaires who dropped out of the charity pledge, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. I think they've donated a lot, and you're supposed to donate like them. So this EA thing was very puzzling. And I remember during the SBF thing, when we were just trying to figure out who this guy was, there was a popular sideways filmed video or vertical video. And the guy's like, look at this cool guy, SBF. He wears sandals and drives a Honda Civic. He's not a rich guy, but he runs this billion-dollar and it made no sense. And we know he was fronting. We know he had billions of dollars. They're eating fancy meals. They're living in a giant condo or whatever. But at the same time,
Yeah.
we're supposed to just look at his car and say, oh, he's just like us. Go ahead, Darren. More on this.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, the other part of the story here as well about sort of the parents whatever saying about, well, like, everybody's been made whole. Some people have even like sort of earned sort of like, I don't know what it was, like 20 or 30% extra, and of course that's not true because technically maybe it is true if you want to spin it that way, but those were like 2022 prices, not 2026 prices.
Well, and we don't know anybody, but I'm sure somebody probably hurt themselves or took care of themselves because they lost all their money in FTX. And there's the additional thing they try to say where it's like, Sam made very good investments, so it should be fine. And it's like, no, that doesn't make it fine. He stole the money, took the money from other accounts to make those investments, so on and so forth. But I think we're running almost out of battery and almost out of time. So let's go to Darren for a prediction or a story of the week. Go ahead, Darren.
Now, my prediction is that Bitcoin is going down and they'll be stacking more. At the moment, I'm up to some interesting payment API stuff. So I've got a project over at forgesworn.dev, and I'm doing a bunch of API payment stuff. So I think API payments and micro payments are coming back around, and they're coming back around fast. And I think that's a pretty good prediction of where things are going. And we see that with like some of the big boys like Coinbase coming into the market around this as well.
That sounds very exciting, Darren. It's very cool stuff. I've been doing some coding too, but mainly vibe coding on the Claude, and super fun. It's like an interactive dev team. I'm like, all my stuff's all really small. I just want the button moved from right to left, and I want it turned orange, and I want it big. And these are the kind of things I couldn't get the dev team to do before. But this new dev team, they do it right away. They never say that's not important for our timeline or whatever. So I love the vibe coding. Michelle, do you have a prediction or a story of the week? Go ahead.
Well, just to follow up on your vibe coding, I'm doing a lot of projects I would never have done without that. Like every week I start and finish a new project. And one of them, we partnered with our Swiss friends from Hodling, which is a company teaching self-custody, to organize workshops over several days. First one will be in Prague just before BTC Prague. So if you want to have a look at explainingbitcoin.com, that's our website. We are trying to market that very slowly. We don't have a definitive date yet, but yeah, have a look and let us know what you think about it.
That sounds very cool at explainingbitcoin.com. And it's great to have more education going here. I know Darren also does educational videos with Victoria at Satoshi's page. I think they have more information out there. I don't have that much more to say. Story of the week. I'm excited about Project Hail Mary. I haven't seen it yet. I've read the book, so I'm not in that much of a hurry. No one can really ruin the plot for me. I already know generally what's going to happen, but there's been lots of good reviews. They say the graphics are good. They like the space alien. I'm excited to see it. So check out Project Hail Mary in the movie theaters near you. They're saying it could be like 2001: A Space Odyssey. So I look forward to that. And thanks to everybody for joining us. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a comment down below. We had some time zone issues today. I think a lot of people are confused as to what time it is, mainly me and the AI, who was not helpful in scheduling this thing. They've changed daylight savings time and all those things, but I'm told, I think we're going to synchronize back up this weekend. So hopefully we'll be on schedule for next week. So thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks to Darren and Michelle for being here. And until next time, bye-bye.